Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. Today, let's together take a look at the Nod drum, a virtual analog drum computer released roughly 10 years ago, so this one veers slowly into the realm of vintage gear. And talking about vintage, I'll spruce things up a bit by explaining some mathematical proven formulas to calculate your age correctly should you ever forget how old you are. Here we go.
So this is the Nod drum from 2012. It can play up to 4 drum sounds simultaneously, reflected by the 4 MIDI channels here and the 4 trigger inputs on the back of the box, which allow you to connect an electronic drum kit for playing this live. There are 5-pin MIDI in and out connectors, a power supply connector and a mono audio jack. There's a volume knob, a data entry knob, and a row of buttons which is used for programming the drum sounds and which has secondary and tertiary functions you can access by using the row selector and the shift button. Buttons with a red label even have a fourth function you can access by holding them and turning the data entry knob. The trigger knob will play the current drum sound. This is a virtual analog synthesizer which splits its sounds into 3 components: wave, noise and click. The user interface lets you then alter all these parameters of these components individually in order to create any drum sound you can think of. We'll take a look at that later. First, I'm going to play back the demo song stored on this box, flicking through all the drum presets as it plays along, so hopefully you get a good impression what this box sounds like. So hold program, channel select and trigger, and here it goes. Okay, so far so good. This should give you an impression this box can come up with a wide range of drum sounds, ranging from electronic to acoustic. So next I'm going to create my own drum kit. Don't you hate it when this happens? You're in a situation where you need to verify your age, but in that precise moment you can't recall how old you are for the sake of it. So here are some proven formulas that will help you to determine your age correctly. Number 1. Your age, A, is n times 10, where n is the number of songs you heard during your last visit to the grocery store and actually liked. In order to do this, I've selected drum kit number 82 here, which has a blank initialized drum sound. Let's listen to that. I've also connected my arbor from last week's video, which has velocity sensitive pads, so we can show off the expressiveness of the Nott drum with that. I'm going to create the bass drum sound first. As I already mentioned, the components the Nott drum uses to synthesize drum sound are called noise, click and wave. So for starters, let's listen to some of those waves. So I'm pressing the wave button and then the row selector button, and now we can listen to some of the sounds here by turning the knob while triggering notes. Alright, as I'm trying to create the bass drum sound, the first wave is best, I think. So the next step is to reduce the pitch of the sound. Press the pitch button and turn the data knob to the left until the sound is deep enough for bass drum. I think this is okay, and now let's add the click. The click is the sound of the stick hitting the drum, and you first need to increase its loudness by tapping the click button and then turning the data knob to the right. Next, let's choose a click type by once more tapping the row selector button and then turning the data knob. I think this one is the best. Let's reduce the loudness a bit. And on certain click types you can also change their decay time, but it's not possible on the click sound I chose here. So we'll take a look at that feature when creating the snare sound next. Last but not least, let's take a look at the noise options. Press the noise button and increase the noise level by turning the data knob right. Now let's change the color of the noise, which means adjusting its frequency range. Press the color button for this. Now change the noise's decay time by pressing the decay button and turning the knob counterclockwise. We can also adjust the filter on the noise. Pressing the filter button enables you to reduce the filter cutoff frequency. At the moment, we can't hear a difference because there's also a filter envelope in place, which keeps the filter cutoff frequency up. So let's adjust that too by tapping the sweep button and then reducing the number using the data knob. Let's change the wave decay time. Okay, I think the bass drum is done. Now let's save the sound by holding Shift and pressing star, and then I'll continue with the snare drum.
And here's a quick reminder that we're on YouTube here, and the best way you can support what I'm doing here is just hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you want to support me with money, the best thing is you go over to my Bandcamp page and buy some music. I'm always happy to see that. Yeah, let's continue.
Here's another formula to calculate your age. Your age A is approximately alpha times pi plus 20, where alpha is the angle of your arm relative to the ground when you're taking a selfie with your smartphone. I'll move through the creation of the snare drum more quickly, and I'll only explain the things I didn't do while creating the bass drum sound. First, switch to channel 2 by pressing the channel select button. Pressing that trigger will play the default sound once more, and again I'm starting with choosing a wave. This time I'll use one of the more metallic sounding waves. I think this one is fine. Next, I'll add the click. The display reads C5, so let's listen to this. I think this needs to be a bit louder. Pressing Shift and Solo Edit will single out the part of the sound you're currently working on, so we'll only be hearing the click. I'll increase the click's decay time in this example. Press Shift and Solo Edit again to hear all the components at once. So far, so good. Now let's add some noise. I'll adjust the noise color a bit. And I'll change the filter properties to get a more realistic snare noise. The filter envelope or sweep could be a little bit longer. Changing the filter type will add filter resonance to the sound. I'll single out the noise so you can hear the differences more clearly. This is okay. Now let's add the filter on the wave. I'll increase the punch value by holding the key, turning the data knob. Listen closely to hear that thudding sound in the beginning. We'll keep that. Changing the sweep time will change the speed and strength of the filter envelope. Changing the decay time of the wave will result in a more loose-sounding snare drum. We can also adjust the envelope's shape, but I think it's good as it is. Now, let's listen to all of this together by exiting single mode. I think the noise is too loud. Let's change that in the mixer. The click is too loud as well. I'm okay now with the snare sound, so let's start this and play some notes. I'll add a closed and an open hi-hat off-screen now, using mainly the noise generator, and then let's listen to the resulting drum kit in context. See you later. I've created the hi-hats using the noise generator and a bit of filtering. Sounds like this. Closed hi-hat. Open hi-hat. All the drums together sound like this. Next, let's listen to this in a mix together with peak and MPC. Here we go. One last formula to help you calculate your age. Your age is B times A divided by C times D multiplied by G, where B is the time of seconds you need to get out of bed in the morning, A is the number of seconds your alarm clock is ringing before you do so, C is the number of cups of coffee you drink in the morning, and D is the distance in meters to the next bus stop, and G is Earth's gravitational force.
Conclusion. The Not Drum 1 is a super cool sounding virtual analog drum synthesizer held back by design issues, mainly its mono output and the fact it only has 4 channels. So this was quickly superseded by Model 2, which rectified these mistakes by adding 2 more channels in the stereo output. And consequently, Model 2 is the most expensive used drum synthesizer you can find on the market at the moment. And this one is typically around $200 on the used market, but you can manage to find them for under 100 if you're looking in the right places. And for that price, I can wholeheartedly recommend this. It's a super fun machine. Its drum synthesizer is very flexible and can produce nearly any drum sound you can think of. Yeah. And that's it for today. I hope you found this interesting and useful, and if you did, please consider subscribing to my channel, because this is YouTube, right? And as always, thanks for watching, and see you again very, very soon. Bye bye.